Oliver Twist. Oliver Twist was born in a small, gloomy town. His mother was very poor and had no one to help her. She died shortly after giving birth to Oliver. With no relatives to care for him, Oliver was sent to a workhouse where many other poor children lived. The workhouse was a harsh place. The children were given very little food and had to work hard every day. They wore old, worn-out clothes and lived in cold, dark rooms. Oliver was just a small boy, but he was always very hungry. The workhouse had strict rules, and the children were often punished for small mistakes. One day, Oliver was so hungry that he asked for more food. He nervously walked up to the cook and said, "Please, sir, I want some more." The cook was shocked and angry. Oliver's request caused a big stir. The workhouse officials were furious and decided to punish Oliver. Chapter 2: A New Life. Because of his request, Oliver was sent away from the workhouse. He was sent to live with a man named Mr. Sourberry, who was an undertaker. Mr. Sourberry was a very unkind man and treated Oliver poorly. Oliver had to work long hours helping with the funerals, and he had very little time to rest or eat. Oliver was very unhappy living with Mr. Sourberry. The work was hard, and he was often cold and hungry. After several months of this hard life, Oliver decided to run away. He thought that if he went to London, he might find a better life. He packed a few belongings and set off on the long journey. Chapter 3: The Big City. The journey to London was difficult. Oliver had never traveled so far before, and he was tired and hungry by the time he arrived. London was a huge, bustling city, and Oliver felt overwhelmed by the noise and crowds. Oliver wandered the streets, looking for food and a place to sleep. One day, he met a boy named Jack. Jack was part of a group of children who lived by stealing things. Jack saw that Oliver was in trouble and decided to help him. He took Oliver to meet his friends, who were also thieves. The group of thieves took Oliver in and showed him how to steal. Oliver did not like this life. He was afraid of getting caught, and he didn't want to be a thief. Even though the other children were kind to him, Oliver felt very sad and lonely. Chapter 4: Trouble and Rescue. One day, the police came looking for the thieves. They had been stealing from people, and the police were determined to catch them. The thieves ran away, but Oliver was not with them. He had been out searching for food. While the police were chasing the thieves, Oliver was left alone again. He continued to wander the streets, not knowing what to do. His situation seemed hopeless. One day, as Oliver was sitting in the street, a kind man named Mr. Brownlow noticed him. Mr. Brownlow saw how tired and dirty Oliver was and felt sorry for him. He invited Oliver to his home. Mr. Brownlow was a wealthy man who lived in a beautiful house with his kind family. Chapter 5: A New Home. Mr. Brownlow took Oliver in and gave him a warm meal and clean clothes. Oliver was very grateful and felt a bit shy but was relieved to be in a safe place. Mr. Brownlow and his family treated Oliver with kindness and respect. They made sure he had everything he needed and even let him go to school. Oliver began to feel happy and secure in his new home. He started to trust Mr. Brownlow and his family. They were very kind to him and made him feel like part of their family. Oliver was slowly starting to forget his difficult past. Chapter 6: Discovering the Truth. As time went on, Oliver began to remember bits and pieces of his past. He thought about his mother and the workhouse where he had spent his early years. Mr. Brownlow was very interested in Oliver's past and wanted to help him find out more. With Mr. Brownlow's help, Oliver learned that he was actually from a wealthy family. His real name was Oliver Twist, and he had been taken away from his family when he was very young. Mr. Brownlow and Oliver's real family worked together to find out the truth. Oliver discovered that his real family was looking for him. They were overjoyed to find him and welcomed him back. Oliver was happy to learn about his true family and his past. He was grateful for Mr. Brownlow's help and the new life he had found. Chapter 7: A Fresh Start. Oliver's life changed completely. He went to school and made many new friends. He was happy to be safe and loved, and he worked hard to make the most of his new life. He enjoyed his studies and spent time with his new family. Oliver often thought about his difficult past and the time he spent in the workhouse and on the streets. But he was thankful for his second chance and the new beginning he had found. Oliver's story had a happy ending. He found a place where he belonged, and he lived a good and fulfilling life. He knew that he was very lucky to have found a new family and a fresh start. Chapter 8: The Unexpected Visitor. Life in Mr. Brownlow's house was peaceful, but one day, something unexpected happened. A mysterious man arrived at the door. He claimed to have important information about Oliver's past. Mr. Brownlow welcomed him in and introduced him to Oliver. The man's name was Mr. Monks. He was a relative of Oliver's real family but had a dark secret. Mr. Monks was unhappy that Oliver had been found because he wanted to claim the family fortune for himself. He had tried to keep Oliver's true identity a secret. Mr. Monks tried to persuade Mr. Brownlow to hand Oliver over to him, but Mr. Brownlow refused. He promised to protect Oliver and ensure that he stayed safe. The confrontation was upsetting for Oliver, but Mr. Brownlow assured him that everything would be all right. Chapter 9: The Search for Answers. Mr. Brownlow and Oliver's real family began to search for more information about Mr. Monks and his schemes. They learned that Mr. Monks had been trying to hide the truth about Oliver to take control of the family fortune for himself. They needed to find proof to stop him. With the help of some old records and documents, Mr. Brownlow and his family uncovered the truth. They found evidence of Mr. Monk's dishonest plans and his attempts to keep Oliver away from his rightful inheritance. Oliver was relieved when the truth was finally revealed. He felt a sense of closure and was grateful for the support of Mr. Brownlow and his family. They had worked hard to protect him and ensure that justice was served. Chapter 10: New Beginnings. With Mr. Monk's plans thwarted, Oliver was finally free to enjoy his new life without any worries. He continued to live happily with Mr. Brownlow and his family. He was able to focus on his studies and build friendships with other children. Oliver found joy in simple things, like playing with his new friends and helping around the house. He also enjoyed learning about his family's history and the things he had missed during his difficult years. Mr. Brownlow and his family supported Oliver in every way. They encouraged him to pursue his dreams and live a fulfilling life. Oliver felt loved and appreciated, and he was determined to make the most of his second chance. Chapter 11: A Bright Future. As the years went by, Oliver grew into a thoughtful and kind young man. He continued his education and showed a strong interest in helping others. He wanted to make a positive difference in the world, inspired by the kindness he had received from Mr. Brownlow and his family. Oliver became involved in charitable work, using his experiences to help children who were in difficult situations like he had been. He wanted to ensure that others could have the same opportunities and support that he had received. His life was filled with purpose and happiness. He maintained close relationships with his new family and friends, and he was grateful for the new beginning he had been given. Chapter 12: A Life Well Lived. Oliver's story was one of overcoming adversity and finding hope. His journey from a lonely orphan to a beloved member of a caring family was a testament to his strength and resilience. He cherished the lessons he had learned and the people who had helped him along the way. In the end, Oliver found true happiness and fulfillment. He lived a life that was rich in love, friendship, and purpose. His story became an example of how even in the most difficult situations, a new beginning and a brighter future are possible. Oliver knew that he had been given a precious gift, a second chance at life. He made the most of it every day and never forgot the kindness that had helped him along the way. The end.